The guest house lobby had been engulfed by silence. The strings of tension which bound Krauss, Natsui, and Eva had already loosened. They were completely tired, and their consciousness was beginning to waver. Every once in a while, they would stand up and walk around pointlessly, fighting their drowsiness.
大丈夫ですか、エヴァさん。やはり無理をせず休んでいてください。大丈夫だって言ってるわ。もう大人は私たち3人しかいないのよ。
What about Nanjo?
休んでる暇なんかないわ。
Honestly, I keep on enjoying how they keep on, saying that they're the only adults when Nanjo is just upstairs.
石にかじりついてでもここを死守するわよ。
She spoke a brave line, but she couldn't hide her rough breathing. It seemed that the fever, which had been calm with medicine for a while, had returned. It was very obvious that Ava's condition was not good.
無理はするな。せめて目を閉じていたまえ。もし起こさねばならぬ時は必ず起こしてやるから。
だから平気だって言ってるわ。放っておいて。
It seemed that she had now become stubborn. Krauss and Natsui realized that no matter what else they said to her, in her current state, it wouldn't reach her ears. So, they decided to say nothing more, and to let her be. To Ava right now, even an argument like that was putting a burden on her. It would probably be better for her if she just sat there with her mouth closed. As a matter of fact, Ava was already on the point of succumbing to her drowsiness. She might have talked back with a temper because she was trying to encourage herself and throw off her sleepiness. The clock would very soon be pointing to 6 in the afternoon. It's pretty dark outside for 6 o'clock. The clock would very soon be pointing to 6 in the afternoon. Because she had been snacking over and over again to fool her drowsiness, she didn't feel hungry. But instead, her lack of sleep made it feel like it was 6 in the morning rather than an afternoon. Even supposing that the boat would come at precisely 9 in the morning tomorrow, there were still more than 12 full hours to go. It was a dizzyingly long stretch of time. That's a hard word to say. Long. Painful. Hot. Even the sound of the clock torments my body now. In times like this, he would put his hand on my forehead, and the fever would always fade at once. But he isn't here anymore. As Ava's mind grew foggy, she was once again gripped by a deep sadness. She had already cried herself dry. Even so, the sadness from losing her beloved husband had not been exhausted.
私は間違っていたんだわ。どうして？
Melody, instrumental version. Originally, the new witch had been the same being as Ava. Even if Ava talked to her, she would always respond.
私は後宮家の当主の座さえ得られれば、それで満足のはずだった。それが、あの黄金の山を見た途端に欲が増えたの。あの黄金の山を独り占めしたい気持ちに駆られた。それは恥じることでも何でもないわ。だって後宮家の当主として当然の権利じゃない。他の誰にも黄金のひとかけらだって譲るものかってのよ。私がその誘惑にとらわれたからあなたが生まれてしまったんだわ。 あなたは私の少女時代の心であると同時に、自分勝手でしかない私のよこしまな心でもあった。そのあなたがあの黄金の山によって芽生えた私の愚かな欲望のせいで、私の胸という卵の殻を破り、この世に生まれ出てしまった。
Is this meaning to be slightly of a psychological confession? Is this a psychological confession from Ava?
あなたを産んだのは私の責任。
なら私が殺したローザとマリアも、そしてルドルフとキリエと秀吉もあなたの責任ってことになるわ。
どうしてうちの人まで殺したのよ。どうして。
秀吉を殺す気はなかったわ。だってうるさくてしつこかったんだもの。その意味では私たちの、いえ、あなたの責任ね。あんなのを旦那に選んだあなたの責任だわ。
Oh. Oh.
あなたみたいな子供にあの人の良さはわからないわよ。あなた。
何よ、私たちは魔法で夢を叶えたのよ。碑文の謎を解いたわ。そして黄金を見つけ、当主の指輪を手にしたわ。すべての夢を叶えきったわ。それがなんで不満なの？
それだけが全ての夢なんかじゃないわ。あの人と素敵な人生を歩んで、ジョージに素晴らしい人生を託す。妻として、母として。私にはまだ叶えなければならない夢がたくさんあるのよ。それなのに。
Damn. Why can I not remember the voice actress by name? Fuck. All I'm saying is, she's doing amazing right now.
それはあなたが大人になってから勝手に増やした夢だわ。私たちの夢じゃない。
だからあなたは子供なのよ。自分さえ良ければいいの。そうよ。全て私が悪いのよ。あの時ローザの言うことにどうして私は反抗したの？どうして兄弟みんなに黄金を見つけたと発表できなかったの？全て私が醜いから。黄金を独り占めしたくて芽生えさせたよこしまな心があなたを孵化させてしまった。
ひどい嫌われようだわ。
I can.
私たちは2人で後ろ宮エヴァなのに。
いいえ、もう違うわ。そしてそれはあなたが言ったのよ。私は後ろ宮エヴァ、そしてあなたは黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェよ。だからもう消えて。魔女なんておとぎ話の中にしか存在できない妄想よ、幻想よ。あなたなんか消えてしまえ。二度と私の前に現れないで。
ああ、そう。わかったわ。あなたの前から消えてあげるわ。そして私はもう後ろ宮エヴァじゃない。これからは黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェよ。もう好き勝手に遊んでやるんだから。あんたなんて知らないわ。へそでもかんで勝手に死んじゃえば。
After having a fittingly childlike tantrum, the witch, who had once been another Ava, vanished. Only Ava was left behind in the darkness. And she questioned herself.
私なの。私が彼らを殺した。
That was Good timing for the music, by the way.
あの人を殺してしまったの。私が殺してしまったの。
Oh? Now, that question was one she herself would never answer. Oh, she's pondering if she killed Hideyoshi. Oh. Whoa. It seemed that, half asleep, she had gotten some saliva caught in her windpipe just as she was dozing off. Ava suddenly started coughing.
大丈夫かエヴァ。夏日、水を頼む。
はい。大丈夫だってば。
I would probably take the water. Yeah, I would definitely take the water if I'm coughing like that.
ちょっとむせちゃっただけなんだから。
Ava pushed away Natsui's hand as she tried to rub her back, and unsteadily rose to her feet.
顔を洗ってくるわ。ごめんなさいね、寝ちゃってたわ。戻ってきたらまたコーヒーを入れるわね。特に濃い、明日の朝まで眠気が来なくなるようなやつを。
頼む。ゴーダの入れるコーヒーよりお前が入れるコーヒーの方が私の好みに合うからな。
お世辞でも嬉しいわ。すぐ戻るわ。
Ava exited the lobby, heading for the Ava exited the lobby, heading for the laboratory. Okay, I'm gonna be honest here. It's been forever since I seen the term laboratory. Krauss and Natsui watched over her frail back.
あなたもあれだけ犬猿の中だったエヴァさんに気を使うこともあるのですね。
本来兄とはこういうものではないのかね。
ええ、それで正しいと思います。
エヴァに限らん。
Fortitude.
ルドルフにもローザにも。
Uh-oh.
私がした兄らしいことといえば、それを王兵に語り、彼らをいじめただけだ。
Is Krauss reflecting on himself?
父のようになりたくて、私なりに必死だった。だが、いつもそれは及ばず、そのはけ口を彼らに向けてしまった。しかし、それは言い訳にならん。エヴァにもまだ傷が癒えぬほどに深い心の傷を負わせてしまっただろう。悔いているが、今さらそれを詫びたところでその傷が癒えるわけもない。
あなたがその気持ちを今だけでなく持ち続けることで、その気持ちはきっと他の兄弟たちにも伝わりますよ。
今となっては他の兄弟もエヴァを残すのみだがね。
もしあなたとあなたのご兄弟が生まれた家が後宮家でさえなかったなら、もっともっと普通な楽しい兄弟の関係であったでしょうに。
Wow. Wow. I feel like that's probably one of the most important lines about every single adult of the Umineko series. I think what Natsui said right there is probably one of the most important messages about all the parents of Umineko.
それを言ってはならん。エヴァは生涯 私を憎み続けるだろう。そしてその資格がある。私はそれを甘んじて受け止めるつもりだ。
あなた。
エヴァ、すまん。もちろん許さなくていい。
I feel like after all of his reflecting, he's gonna be fucking massacred, isn't he? He's gonna get so fucking massacred soon.
もちろん許さないわ。
I knew it! I knew it! I fucking knew it was gonna lead to this! Oh my god! I knew it! Oh my god. Well, let's see how Natsui and Klaus get fucked over by Eva Beatrice. I'm betting you all, it's gonna be one of the most messed up ones yet, because Klaus is the sibling Eva hates the most.
悪いと思ったなら、今すぐへそでも噛んで死んじゃえば。
Dance of the Moon Rabbits. Here we go.
やっちゃえ、シエスタ姉妹。
Here we go.
45、射撃許可治療。射撃曲線再確認。飛行誤差修正。410データリンク。410データ受領。射撃許可確認。にひひひひ。射撃。
Together, the sisters released the readied magic bowstring. A beautiful tail trailed the golden arrow, and it drew a beautiful curve as it flew. It was just like a golden snake. It skillfully avoided a grove of trees and flew towards the front door of the guest house. Then it flew into the keyhole of the keyhole. Then it flew into the keyhole of the door and snuck into the guest house without any problem at all. The gold snake raced down the hall smoothly, yet as fast as an arrow. Right in front of it was the door up to the lobby. It would only need to fly through that keyhole, and Klaus and Natsui would be right there. For an instant, Klaus thought he saw the door's keyhole sparkle gold. However, at the same time he strained his eyes to see what it was, that sparkle bent like a whip and attacked, wrapping itself around Klaus's neck. Oh shit. Just looking at it, the gold snake looked very supple. However, it was as though a wire had tightened around Klaus's neck. And while that snake choked Klaus, it extended even more, and also tightened around Natsumi's neck. Without even the chance to scream, their eyes bulged as they went into convulsions and then collapsed.
45、命中および死亡確認。牽引曲線形成、補正点修正。410データリンク。410データ受領。死体牽引開始。2匹も釣れた2匹。
The gold snake began to drag Klaus and Natsui's corpses back. It slipped through the door to the corridor, dragging the corpses, gradually increasing in speed. And in the blink of an eye, it had pulled them outside the guest house. So the lobby was still, as though nothing had happened at all. As though Klaus and Natsui had never been there to begin with. Only the sound of the wind and the rain remained, as though finding ignorance and pretending that they had been the only ones there.
ごめんなさい。もう大丈夫よ。
Ava, you might be a little late going in there.
今コーヒーを入れるわね。
Ava returned from the laboratory, but no one was in the lobby. Even though they had been in that sofa until the very moment she had choked and gone to the laboratory, they had now gone, as if they had been an illusion from the beginning.
不用心ね。二人揃ってどこに行っちゃったの？
Like she was pretending to be in a detective novel, Ava put her hand on the sofa. She felt a warmth, indicating that they had been sitting there until a short while ago. Maybe they had gone to do the rounds or something. For the time being, Ava sat down and waited for their return. She seems very calm about that. And let's see how they're being tortured to death. Or not. No, we're getting to George! Dead angle. Beato and George could be seen in the parlor of the mansion. George was kneeling near Shannon's body, as though praying. His face was sincerity itself, and there was even sweat on his forehead. However, Beato was the same. Now that she had handed her name over, most of her previous power had been lost. Of course, she still had more than enough power to be called a witch, but compared to the past, it was a very faint thing.
いいぞ。声をかけるな。手で触れるな。心の声で呼べ。心の手で求め。そなたの強き思いだけ。シャノンの失われた魂。わらわの魔法を届かせ。
George maintained a single-minded focus. He kept frantically yelling inside his heart, trying to call back the soul of the person he loved. He strongly envisioned his soul leaving his body and searching for her as she wandered through hell. Beato turned that strong force into magical power, supplementing her own magic. It was magic that, in the past, she could have performed easily without anyone's help. But now, if she didn't rely on someone's help, she wouldn't be able to finish the chant, much less succeed.
数百年近くに忘れておったわ。魔法と反言とはこんなにも辛い魔法であったか。
An even more straight expression than George's had risen to Beato's face. She was still forgetting this, but the magic to revive a life is fundamentally the ultimate hidden art. It was her previous magical power, giving her the ability to use that magic over and over with a snap of her fingers that was abnormal. Therefore, the heavy burden to her body and mind was, by right, absolutely to be expected.
しかし、こやつめの力、魔法を知らぬというのにかなりのもの。なるほど。さすがは金蔵の孫といったところか。
The strong power pouring from George was even large enough to pass as magical power. At first, Beato thought it was due to the blood of the mage Kinzo. However, that was probably wrong. She had a feeling that Balor had taught her that. George's power to feel sorrow for the death of his loved one arose from the way he had tried his hardest throughout his life. From the warm time spent together with Shannon, and from the size of their shared dream, promising each other their futures. Do humans really live this seriously during their one single life? Of course they do. To her, a life didn't mean anything more than the difference between the top and bottom of a Othello piece. If the black represented death, then she thought all you had to do was flip it over again and make it white. However, it was just like that broken vase. To humans in a world without magic, where they can never return to its original form, it is very, very natural for them to bet all their body and soul on that single life.
生死すら自在にする無限の魔女、死の山さえ越えられぬ有限の人間に劣ることもあるというのか。
Now, the witch acknowledged it. He was able to hold a magical power that could not reside in witches who didn't understand the value of a life. What is this thing called the Endless Magic for again? Even though I call myself the Endless Witch, have I been forgetting what the Endless Magic means for a whole 1,000 years? She looked at George's expression again. His surging earnestness was like a lightning bolt. Right now, even if George's body was burned or smashed by a waterfall, he would probably continue to pray for his beloved without minding it, without noticing it. For the first time, she showed respect for that power. So in that instant, all magical resistance was lost, and the enormous power of George's feelings turned into magical power in its perfect form. Oh! End of a daydream. The vase was very, very beautiful, rich with history and value. Even as young as I was, it still forced me to take a deep breath when I witnessed its beauty. But that just made me want to touch it. But the vase easily fell and smashed into smithereens. Like the pop bubble. It felt as though the time would have possessed a form was just an illusion. It was that fragile, that easily lost that life. I realized that, because of my own foolish curiosity, I had done something that couldn't be taken back. No matter how much I regretted it, no matter how much I apologized, the broken vase would not return to its original form. A lost life will not return to normal no matter what happens. I was frightened by the fact that my own frivolous action, even though it had been frivolous, had stolen a life that could never be revived again. And, out of pity for the lost life, I cried. Out of fear of myself, who had made it become lost, I cried even more. I was sure that grandfather would also cry at the loss of his precious vase. I was sure that all the people who thought fondly of grandfather would cry too, when they saw him like that. By just the loss of a single life, the whole world would be filled with so much sadness. I cried even more at how terrible that would be. Beatrice appeared and spoke.
ならばお嬢様、この壺を魔法で蘇らせましょう。それで皆が幸せになれるなら、壺も魔法も精霊たちも喜んでそのために力を貸し、元の姿を取り戻すでしょう。さあさあ、お嬢様、目を閉じて私と一緒にお歌を歌いましょう。さあさあ、目を閉じてごらんなさい。そして思い出してごらんなさい。あなたがどんな姿をしていたのか。それはきっと、とてもとても美しい姿。どうか私に、あの姿をもう一度見せておくれ。
They're reviving Shannon, aren't they? Soul of Soul. Those words of power powerfully knocked on the door to Hades. Her previous magic had powerfully knocked on the door to Hades in the same way. However, back then, it was horribly violent, and earned the displeasure of the peacefully sleeping dead. However, this time was different. It was very powerful, but it was very kind and loving. Ooh! Whoa! I want to see this background! I like the fog. The fog looks really cool. The dead near the door opened their eyes and called out to the other dead that there was a voice calling for someone to come back. The sadness of that voice calling from the outside touched the hearts of the dead. God, why is this? It's the fucking song! God damn it! Are you fucking serious, man? And of course, I put the tissues out of the room. Damn it! Ah, fine, I'll go with teared up eyes. The sadness of that voice calling from the outside touched the hearts of the dead, and trying to respond as quickly as possible, they searched for Shannon's lost soul. And then, they found it. They found the casket in which Shannon was peacefully sleeping. It truly was Shannon's soul, sleeping in the land of the dead. Inside a casket that was covered with rose petals frozen with frost, she was sleeping in peace. The dead suddenly lifted that casket up. While it looked like a funeral march at a glance, it had the complete opposite meaning. It was solemn, but filled with joy. It reminded the long-forgotten dead that they continued to be loved even after their deaths, and gave them all a warmth, sense of peace. Then, as though guided by a warm light from the heavens, Shannon's body floated up out of the casket. The dead watched her go. They squinted at that warm light, giving their respect to this unknown member of the living, who had continued to hold on to his love for a person even after her death. Holy shit. Shannon's body was sucked into the light in the heavens and began to disappear. In the jet black darkness of the land of the dead, the faint flickering of gold butterflies could be seen. It reminded them of the gentle stars in the night sky, which they had long forgotten. Ooh. George remembered being told that he must not say anything, and he hurriedly covered his mouth. However, it felt like his heart was trying to jump out of his throat, because he had seen Shannon's eyelids shake slightly. This is going to end badly, isn't it? This is going to end badly, isn't it? You don't revive the dead! That's one of the main messages for most media I've read. You don't revive the dead! This is leading up to something terrible for George! Ah! And then, those eyelids slowly opened. Shannon's eyes were there, but they were still covered in the frosts of the land of the dead. However, the warmth of the human world, no. The warmth of her loved one, who had called her soul back, slowly dissolved that frost, and her eyes gradually regained their sparkle. Then, her eyes moved, and recognized George.
George-san.
As her lips shook weakly, Shannon definitely said that. The words were very faint. So much so that they normally wouldn't have reached his ears. However, George clearly heard them. He heard his loved one, his fiancée, the one he loved most, who should have been dead, call his name once again.
シャノ、僕がわかるかい？
ジョージさん、これは夢なの？
いや、これは夢じゃないよ。だからほら、つねっても。
Why does she shatters as soon as he pitches? I'm sorry for interrupting you, but why does he went to pinch Shannon and she shattered like glass? As George said that, he softly pinched Shannon's cheek. Okay, I don't think she's gonna shatter. It was how George had always responded in the past, when Shannon had been surprised by something and had asked if she was dreaming. When Shannon felt the warm touch of George's finger on her cheek, and when George realized that the warmth of a living person had already returned to the cheek of his beloved, they both cried. With what words should a pair of lovers separated by death celebrate their reunion? The words of the human world are not enough to celebrate that. Whoa! Oh, I think I skipped a line. Sorry. No, I did it. Okay, I'm good. In short, they had no need of the words in this world. Shannon sat up, and the two of them simply wordlessly hugged each other. Shannon still didn't have much strength in her, and putting her arms around George's back took all she had. So George hugged her tightly to make up for that, to stop her from ever again going to a place beyond his reach. He hugged her so tightly, yet so gently. Shannon's fingers curled around George's back, and on her ring finger indeed shone the engagement ring George had given her. That strong sparkle was absolutely not the sparkle of diamond alone. There was, without doubt, a magical power there that only the two lovers could possibly feel. It was because that strong light existed that they had been able to find her casket in the land of the dead. Beatrice understood. That ring, no. The couple's feelings and the form of that ring had created this miracle. In that moment, George had definitely used magic. Beato had done nothing more than help him along. That magic had a magical power that could only reside in those who knew of the importance of life and trying their hardest. It was the power of a miracle that an endless witch could not know, that only the power of the finite could give rise to. By now, she had no choice but to accept it. She had to accept that true magical power, existed in the place farthest away from she who called herself a great witch.
Beatrice 様。
彼女が君を生き返らせてくれたんだ。ありがとう、ベアトリーチェ。
いいや。わらわは何もできなかった。シャノンをよみがえらせたのは、そなたの魔力、そなたの魔法、奇跡を成し遂げる後宮の地。確かに見届けさせてもらったぞ。
ジョージさんが私を。
わらわなど足元にも及ばぬほどの凄まじき魔力であったぞ。わらわなどまだまだ見習いの域を出ぬか。今こそ身の程を知ろうぞ。
Beatrice staggered backwards. Her physical strength was clearly exhausted. She had humbly said that George's power alone had revived Shannon, but Beato had also used all of her magical and physical strength. And she reflected upon how difficult it was to revive a single one of these lives, which she had toyed with however she wanted in the past. The couple kept each other in their tight embrace, and showed no signs of letting go. Feelings that couldn't be communicated with a billion words were thus communicated between them.
ありがとう、ベアトリーチェ。君は僕たちの恩人だ。
ありがとうございます、ベアトリーチェ様。再びジョージ様に会わせてくださったこのご恩を決して忘れません。
よせよせ。愛し合う二人に感謝されては外道の極みと恐れられたわらわにはくすぐったすぎるというものよ。わらわのことは気にするな。存分に再会を祝い合え。
Beato, who was leaning her back against the wall, slid down the wall and sat. How many centuries had it been since she had last grown this tired from using magic? Probably not since the time I first succeeded in magic. Didn't Master praise me for that back then? Oh, but I myself killed that Master who praises me, didn't I? Don't be naive, Beatrice. In the end, that's what it means to kill something, right?
ようやく魔法の使い方を思い出したようですね。頭ん中酸欠でカラッカラで思い出すもヘチマもねえぜ。それよりあんた殺したじゃねえかよ。現れるんじゃねえよ。あなたが未だに私を生かしていますよ。だからこうして現れられます。もっともあなたの頭を撫でに来たわけでもありませんが、無様なわらわをわざわざ嘲笑いに来たかよ。それに隠居までした魔女が今さら頭なんか撫でられちゃ他の魔女の笑い物だぜ。そうですね。一人前どころか現役を退いたと豪語するあなたなのに、今頃になって魔法の使い方を覚えたなど恥ずかしくて誰にも言えませんね。だなあ、内緒にしてくれよ、お師匠様。
With a sense of pleasant despondency, Beato gazed at the couple hugging each other.
愛か。勝てねえな。
It suddenly turned up. Whoa! Oh. Not eyes!
射撃準備完了。
Oh my god! It's so much about to get shot!
弾手選定装填。
No, wait, no! No, are they about to get shot?
410射撃。
Oh my god! The golden serpentine arrow fired by the Chesters weaved its way through the bushes in the rose garden. Oh my god! Weaved its way through the hatches! And climbed the stone steps towards the mansion's entrance! Aiming for the keyhole! And weaved through the corridors and flew into the keyhole in the door to the parlor. It happened in an instant. It would have been difficult for Beato, who was completely worn out, to have noticed it beforehand. Oh my god! Right before Beato's eyes, the gold snake that flew in through the keyhole spun circles around the two levers and pierced through them. Oh my god, Ava Beatrice, you bitch! You bitch! Oh my god! Right before Beato's eyes, the gold snake that flew in through the keyhole spun circles around the two levers and pierced through their two hearts in the blink of an eye. And with meticulous precision, that gold snake went through that hole in Shannon's chest once more. The two have been pierced through the heart by the gold snake. No, by the gold sewing thread used by the new brutal witch's furniture. And it had only taken an instant, so unfitting for the amount of effort it had taken to revive Shannon. Oh my god, hold on, give me a second. Give me a second. Oh my god. Oh my god. You know, that was not what I was expecting to happen. Like, I knew they were gonna die in the end or something, but I didn't expect it to come like this, so sudden. I didn't expect Ava Beatrice to actually kill them. Oh my god. Oh my god. Honestly, I'm not even upset. I'm not even upset. Oh my god. Oh wow. 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 In front of Beato's shocked eyes, the two collapse onto the floor.
ジョージシャノン
ありがとうベアトリーチェわずかの間でも会わせてくれてありがとう
George spent his last breath thanking Beato and died side by side with the one he loved. The gold snake, which still sewed the two in place, spun like a large cyclone, revolving around inside of the parlor. It was searching for further kills in that room. Oh! Is it going after Beatrice? Then, the tip of the snake met Beato's gaze. In that instant, Beato prepared herself for death. Oh! Just then, Virgilia stood in front of her, the fingers of both her hands drawing a mark. In that instant, gold-colored gold leaf buried the inside of the parlor. It was like a blizzard of gold.
ベアト、今のうちに逃げて。シエスタの黄金宮からは誰も逃れられない。
410標的疾患200魔法機マシ45両隊索敵変更対人画像追尾方式標的再補足410データリンク410 10データ受領すっとろいに先代様来て来て来て着弾
Virgilia, no! The Chiser sisters' golden bow would not let its kill escape. It would not let them block it. No magical bearer could even dream of blocking it without being multi-layered. The weak point during the instant of confusion caused by Virgilia's deception magic was Beato's only chance to escape. And the only opportunity to make the sisters confuse Virgilia for Beato. No! As Virgilia spread her arms wide, blocking the way to her beloved disciple, the gold snake pierced straight through the location of her heart. The snake, which had snuck in through the keyhole, shot through George and Shannon, then shot through Virgilia in an instant. Completely failed to notice as Beato escaped. Oh no, Virgilia. As soon as Virgilia saw that Beato had gotten away, she expired. Oh no. The strength left her body, and like gold dust drifting with the wind, her form was erased. Beato completely erased all traces of her magical power, became gold butterflies, and passed through the wall, escaping to the wind and rain outside. Beato felt sick from the bottom of her heart. Why? Because she had been attacked by the new witch? Probably not. Of course, she also felt sick over the loss of her master. But even more than that, Beato was enraged at the barbarism which had boorishly stolen the union between two reunited lovers. Beato had poured out almost all of her magical power to reunite them. That miracle had been achieved only as a result of all that. Yet it had taken such a short time to seal it away. Beato trembled at the barbarous cruelty which had ended it so fast. And it was also the true form of the act she herself had committed up until this point. So, just as strongly as Beato hated the new witch, she looked at her previous self with disgust. Beato learned her lesson? Maybe? But now she had to escape. If she was targeted next, she would probably lose her life. And it wouldn't be even funny if the chess player, descended like a god, ended up being attacked and killed by the pieces. Holy shit.
45着弾確認標的資産間違いなく先代様を撃破しました
You crushed a predecessor, not the one you were aiming through.
また私たちの撃墜気象が増えちまうねにひ
I like
愛し合う二人なん
the,
だっけ
the candles dance. I kind of like the pose that she was doing like this. I kind of like, is it 4-5 or 4-1-0 that was doing that? Shoot, I forgot which was which.
引き裂いて一度合わせて二度もう一度引き裂いて三度楽しめるだっけそのついでにあのクソうるさいババアにさよならできて最高にご機嫌よ
Fussy as fuck old hat.
ラノウェイ文句ないわよね
ございませんベアトリーチェ様
あいつは魔女の碑文の儀式を妨害したのよ第一のバンド生贄を勝手に蘇らせて私の儀式を妨害したわ文句言われる筋合いなんかなんにもないわよしかしずるいなあいつは死体を残さないのねあのババアも
思いっきり何度も無限にいじめ殺して遊んでやろうと思ったのに。
Royove knows something. I think he knows that Beatrice escaped. Oh. What's gonna happen now? We're back at the guest house.
ジョージが
Rhythm changer.
来てないわよ。いつ降りたのよ。
いつって、あれは何時くらいだったっけ？
確か4時か5時くらいだったかな。最低でも1時間以上は前だよ。
俺たち眠くなってその後は多分居眠りしてたし。でも多分ジェシカの言う通りだと思うぜ。1時間か2時間くらい前だった。
私もそのくらいの頃だと記憶しています。コーヒーのおかわりはいるかと聞かれましたからな。
Something hard to believe had happened. Apparently, when Auntie Ava had left for a second to visit the laboratory, Uncle Klaus and Aunt Natalie had disappeared. There's no way they went hiding somewhere. Of course, the doors and windows had all been rigorously checked, and all were locked from the inside. Not one of them was broken. And that wasn't just the first floor. The second floor was the same. Also, all of the doors and windows were designed in such a way that they couldn't be locked from the outside. In other words, there was no way that Uncle Klaus and Aunt Natalie had gone outside. And yet, they couldn't be found. Furthermore, they weren't the only ones who had disappeared. Astonishingly, George Niki had too. George Niki had left saying that he was going to get more coffee, and had gone downstairs more than an hour earlier. I'd been under the impression that he was having a good conversation with Auntie Ava and the rest. But Auntie Ava, who had been in the lobby the whole time, had said no one to come down. Since all of the doors and windows were locked from the inside, it's hard to imagine that they went outside. Nevertheless, 3 humans had evaporated from this barricaded guest house, which had become a perfect locked room. It's hard to imagine any reason why they'd hide themselves away for a surprise prank in a situation like this. It's probably appropriate to think that they'd become caught up in this crime. When Auntie Ava learned that her only son was missing, she went half insane, running from room to room and yelling his name loudly. And Jessica, who had suddenly lost both of her parents, followed suit. Cries of George, George, and Mom, Dad were even now continuing to echo through the guest house. I think George said something about wanting to see Shannon's face. It would be reasonable to imagine that he had snuck out of the guest house and gone to the mansion. However, I don't know about Uncle Klaus and Aunt Natalie. Maybe they guessed that's what happened, and went to the mansion to search for him. Without telling Auntie Ava? At this rate, it's only a matter of time before we start talking about leaving the guest house to search for them. At this point, I'd be in favor of that. We said that shutting ourselves up inside the guest house would be safe. And shut ourselves in this morning has a big, happy family of 12 people. And yet, now there are only 4 people here. In other words, being here does not imply safety. However, there's something even more important that we mustn't forget. That's the fact that all the doors and windows were locked from the inside. This is a locked room. How had they vanished from this place? We searched around through it. However, we were unable to find any signs of anyone hiding. The 3 of them had almost certainly been taken outside the guest house.
どうやってでしょう。まさか隠し扉とかもあるとか。
隠し扉？
扉も窓も外から閉めることは構造上不可能です。釣り糸の類を使ってもこの構造では無理でしょうな。となれば 扉や窓以外から出たと考えるのが妥当でしょう。
確かにそういう論法にもなるだろうよ。隠し扉が存在しないなんて断言は誰にも。しかしそういう発想に飛躍する前に俺はもっとシンプルな可能性も疑ってる。
I forgot. Okay. So, I forgot I had a flu shot the other day. Sorry about for skipping your line, but I shouldn't be doing the slaps today. I can't believe that just like went from my wrist and up my arm to the place I got shot.
と申しますと
For some time, Balor had been opening windows, opening the shutters, and checking outside. And repeating this for each window.
この窓は静かだな。なるほど。この窓は他と違って建物の構造上風が吹き込まないわけか。
Oh?
そのようですな。こんなにも外は風雨なのに雨も風も入ってこないとは不思議な気持ちです。
南條先生、
Close my heart.
今窓を開けた時音を感じたかい？
いえ、気にはなりませんでしたな。よく油が効いていると思います。
つまり誰も見ていない廊下の窓からひょろっと抜け出すことは可能なわけだ。しかもこの窓なら風も吹き込まないから風圧でカーテンや扉が音を立てることもない。静かなもんさ。
Balor leaned out and looked at the ground below. He was searching for some sign that George had dumped down. But at a glance, he didn't see any mark like that on the grass in the middle of the pouring rain.
こういう窓が1階にもあるのかもしれない。誰にも気づかれずに表へ出ることは可能だぜ。
しかし扉はおろか窓は全て施錠されて鎧戸まで閉まっていましたぞ。
Unless someone from the inside locked it!
出ることは可能でも閉めることは不可能だ。
閉められるぜ。こうやってカチャンとな。
Balor closed the window and locked it, as though this was perfectly obvious.
まさかバトラさんは。
最後に中の人間が鍵を閉めればこんな密室は朝飯前だ。
しかしそれでは
Nanjo turned pale and shook his head several times. Because the thing that Balor was presenting, a certain truth to him that was frightening even to imagine.
俺の想像したトリックならな。しかしこんなトリックを使えば怪しまれる人物は極めて限定される。
He didn't want to say it in front of Nanjo, but after eliminating Jessica, who had been with him the whole time, the only ones who could have done it were Nanjo and Ava. One of them helped George get out the window. You know, to be fully honest, either one of them could have been the one to lock the window. Both of them could have been the one to lock the window.
私はそんなことをしませんぞ。
Well, you just jumped to conclusions.
誓ってもいい。
となると エヴァおばさんと南條先生のアリバイ合戦ってことになる。俺たちは二人とも怪しんで、それぞれを別々に監禁すればいいだけの話。逆に言えばこのトリックはもっと生存者が多ければ有効かもしれないが、これだけ人数が減った状況下では大して有効ではないんだ。
No. In fact, there's a chance they could dig their own grave with it. It should have been more than expedient to make it look like the culprit was outside, and to intentionally leave a door unlocked or break a window.
もしこの失踪劇が今日の昼にでも起これば、俺は自信満々にこの説を発表しただろうよ。だがこの段階に至っては全然自信が持てないぜ。何なんだこいつは。一体何を意味してやがるんだこの密室はよ。
やはりその。
なんだい南條先生、思いつきでもいいから言ってくれよ。
Because Dr. Nanjo looked like he was trying to swallow his words despite having thought of something, I urged him on. After he refused several times, saying that it was just a foolish idea, he finally said it out loud.
上様、やはりこれは本当に魔女の仕業ではないのかと。
I knew he was gonna turn to Beatrice! I knew he was gonna turn to Beatrice!
バカバカしい。魔女なんているわけがねえぜ。
魔女は私たちに訴えたいのです。人間にはできないことをやってのけるからこそ、自分を魔女だと認めさせたいに違いないのです。
You know, since Nanjo is turning to the witch, I'm having a feeling that he's the one who helped George out escape. If we go through the explanation that Nanjo is the one, it still could be Ava who opened the door for George, but it could also be Nanjo. Because he seems to always jump to the witch whenever it's convenient for him. Come on, Nanjo, just show us your true colors already, and show us your real form.
私はこのゲストハウス全体の密室からの失踪は、そういう魔女からのメッセージだと感じています。考えてはならないのです。意味なんてきっとないのです。私は恐ろしい。
As Dr. Nanjo shook with fear, it looked like he was trying to erase the fearsome thoughts that he kept imagining, one after the other. When we went downstairs, Auntie Ava and Jessica were enraged, and were each making a lot of noise about leaving this place and searching for their respective families. It was a desire that naturally hit those who could no longer see their family. Auntie Ava told Dr. Nanjo and me to stay here, but I shook my head and started walking.
もう引きこもりはたくさんだぜ。俺も外の空気を吸いたくなってきた。
ああ、行くならさっさと行こうぜ。もうこんなところに閉じこもってるのは真っ平さ。早く父さんや母さんやジョージ兄さんを探しに行こう。
The blood had all risen to Jessica's face. I hope it doesn't set off her asthma.
残りたい人が勝手に残ってればいいわ。とにかく私たちは表を探してくるわ。
南條先生はどうする？一人で留守番してるかい？
私もご一緒させてください。
If the alternative was holding up alone in a guest house, whose security was by no means guaranteed, it would be better to be in a danger zone as a group of 4 people. Auntie Ava was holding the gun. Moving separately from her was almost like asking to be made into the next victim. In this way, the 4 of us decided to leave the guest house. We'd barricaded ourselves in, saying we'd be safe if we did, and then lost 8 people. It was almost as though this had been nothing more than a holding cell from which the sacrifices could be killed one after the other. We removed the chain, unlocked the front door, and opened it. It was already pitch black out, while there were some lights outside which dimly lit the pathway. They didn't have enough power to illuminate the darkness that some suspicious person was likely to be hiding in.
行くわよ。遅れても知らないんだからね。
Still holding her gun, Auntie Eva dashed out without an umbrella. Jessica followed after her. After looking at each other, Dr. Nanjo and I chased after them. What in the world is happening in this mansion, on this island? Since yesterday, I've been shut up in the cousin's room in the guest house with the rest of my cousins. So I don't know anything about what's been going on outside. Just what was happening in those places I don't know about. Outside the room, out in the mansion, and on this island. Everything is occurring, everything is proceeding, and everything is ending without my knowing it. Somewhere in my heart, I had already begun to give up. Most likely, not one of us will see tomorrow morning. Umineko no Nakakura ni. None shall be left alive. Glass break. Yeah! That was the perfect ending! Oh, it's 6:05. 6:03. Okay, 6:03, okay? The Butcher's Courtroom.
父さん母さん
Your parents are dead, Jessica. That is apparent. Your parents are dead.
Okay.